Hey guys, what is up? Got some crazy news I want to talk about. It deals with the DC license when it comes to toys and action figures, and it has been used by Mcfarlane for since 2019. And it seems that Mattel has gotten the rights back to those figures. And so Mattel is going to be making some DC multiverse figures, and at first I was concerned. And now I'm a little hopeful, and I think we're going to get to have our cake and eat it too. And that's what I want to talk about right here in this video. So, the part that I was concerned about is, I'll be honest with you, Mcfarlane is the reason I got back into collecting figures. Now, I have to admit, I haven't collected some of the recent ones that I've wanted to just because money. I haven't been able to. My most recent one, which I'll be showing this again for other reasons, but the most recent one I got was this Nightwing one, which I loved, and I'm gonna probably get another one because I want one I can keep in the box, and then I want one that I can open and have the figure, standing by itself. But I loved the Mcfarlane figures, and it got me back into, like I said, collecting figures, because back in the day I was a diehard when it came to collecting different toys, because that's what I enjoyed as a kid. I would play with my action figures. I would go off and dream that I was in a different world, or I was going to dream that I was in the world that they're from. So, DC, Marvel, and I would create these stories that would deal with these characters, these big epic stories. And sometimes maybe I would throw a Dragon Ball Z character in there. And sometimes I would throw a Power Ranger in there to make up for characters I didn't have. But it was where my imagination grew as a child. And when you start to get older, you feel like you got to get rid of things. You got to give up things. And I ended up giving, and this is going to sound almost bad, but I gave up like 2 huge totes of toys, okay? 2 huge totes of toys that I had in the attic. And I thought maybe I could save them for my kids or whatever, but I had these 2 totes full of toys that I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give these to like Toys for Tots, right? And there's always the back of my head where I'm proud that I did that. But then there's that other part of me that's like, man, I gave up all these awesome figures, right? And I had like all with the Justice League Unlimited toys, they had all these figures that I got one of them right here, and I'm gonna show my box in a second. But they had all these like Justice League Unlimited figures, and I had basically all of them. Okay, I had all of them, and I loved those figures, and I gave them up, But I did keep my favorites. Okay, so I have a box full of my favorite toys when I was a kid, the ones I cared about the most. It was a hard decision. It was a hard decision, and I've kept some that literally have broken legs. They're literally like my Aqualad here doesn't even have a leg anymore. I don't know how that happened, but something got it. But I kept all my favorites, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save those for my kids one day, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'm never going to collect toys ever again. I'm never going to collect figures. This is not something in my pocketbook that I can do. It's just, I'm grown. I'm not going to do that no more. And one of the reasons was, for me, is because, I'm not playing with them physically anymore. And, they're just something that I enjoyed to look at. And to me, the Mattel figures, and even the Marvel Legend figures, they all seem too small to me. I prefer that 7-inch scale. And when Mcfarlane came out, it was perfect. It was perfect. And when you see figures like this, or when I saw Nightwing like this, I knew, I was like, man, I gotta get one of these. This is awesome. I made a rule to myself. I was like, okay, I'm only gonna get the Bat Family. So I was like, okay, I'm only gonna get the Bat Family. I'm not gonna go crazy. And then I started getting the evil Batman characters. I was like, this is cool. These are awesome. These are cool figures. Like, look at this sucker, man. This is amazing. And then for a while, it became a problem. And I've had to have self-control because it was starting to become a financial problem. It was starting to become a financial problem where I went way too far. But, I started having to have self-control, couldn't get this, couldn't get that. And, but I love the Mcfarlane figures. I love the way they look. I love everything about them. And I had concerns when I just found out about this Mattel, deal. Because it's like, okay, does that mean we're losing everything? And I don't think so. Now, I guess some of that stuff's going to have to be debated. But with Mcfarlane, the way they have their deal with DC, they actually have two ownerships with DC. They have DC Multiverse, which would be something like this. And then they have DC Direct. And at first, I was concerned because I thought DC Direct was just their statues. But that's not actually the case. Because, see, like, this is DC Direct. Let me see, where's my other one I have? This is DC Direct. And this is DC Direct. And also, this is out of the box, okay? This is out of the box. But this is also DC Direct. So, what do I think this means? I think that for us, are we going to get as many Mcfarlane DC figures? Maybe not. But what I think is going to start happening is, Mattel is going to come out with their 6-inch line. We know they'll go back to doing 6 inches. We'll see if they do a 7-inch line, but most likely they're going to go back to doing their 6-inch line. I think that DC is going to continue doing their superpower figures. They're going to continue doing the page punchers. And I think within the page punchers is where they're going to get to do a lot of their unique different figures and characters. And they're still going to do the animated stuff. I don't think this is the last of the animated stuff. I think because of this, I think you're going to be getting to see Teen Titans figures coming out. I think that's a guarantee. I have Cyborg back there. I always wanted the rest of the OG cartoon looking DC, Titans, Teen Titan characters from the cartoon. We're going to be getting that for sure, I think. And we're going to get it through DC Direct. I think that we're going to be getting, a lot of different things through the DC Direct line. And maybe, they can't go too crazy with it. But if they're more skilled labor, like they had their announcement with the Joker from the Killing Joke, and it's going to be a page puncher, and it's going to be this it's going to be based off the cover. It's based off the cover of one of, the comic of the Killing Joke. I think we're going to be getting a lot of things like that. And so I do think we're going to get to have a little bit of our cake and eat it too. Do I wish that everything was staying with Mcfarlane? Yes, I do. But it was hard to find, and, there probably does need to be some, lower end costing figures, but that's the bad thing is I don't know if Mattel's going to be able to keep the price down and quality up for young kids. So, you're going to be paying for, the same price that you're paying for a figure like this. Same price you'll be paying for a figure like this that's quite big, that's, pretty cool. Not this one ain't perfect, but it's pretty cool. You're going to be spending probably the same amount for a 6-inch figure. because of the corporation, because of all the things people they have to pay, for all the money they have to spend, I do feel like we might get a little bit lower quality of things. But, a lot of people complained. I was happy with it, but a lot of people complained about the over, doing Batman. Batman this, Batman that, which Batman does sell. But from everything I've understood, Mattel really kept different stuff. We never got a spoiler, for example, trying to fill out my Bat family. I never got a spoiler. I never got a, Orphan or, a Cassandra Cain Batgirl. I do think they recently did do a Cassandra Cain Batgirl. I need to look into that. But, I never got some of those figures that I really wanted from Mcfarlane. And I think with Mattel being a big corporation, they're going to be showing everything out there. You're going to get everything. So we'll just have to see. I just hope there's some sort of deal that can be made where we can have our cake and eat it too. I hope that Mcfarlane can still give us 7-inch figures that are really high quality through the DC Direct that doesn't, contradict or interfere with what's going on with DC Multiverse. I hope that they can all come together and give us all what we want, which is really cool DC stuff. I'm really happy. Supposedly, it's going to be the Mattel line doesn't start. Now, I don't know when it ends for Mcfarlane, but the Mattel line does not start till the second half of 2026. So probably somewhere between around summertime of 2026. So maybe, just maybe, we'll be lucky and we'll be able to get some really cool stuff from Mcfarlane pretty soon and continue to get them up until maybe the first half of 2026. But anyway, guys, what do you think of this news? I just wanted to show some of the things I loved. I just love these characters, man. And there was things I wanted that they didn't give. Not all these characters are sized totally correctly. I have Batmans that seem too small, and I have Batmans that seem too big. Versus other characters. I want them all to be kind of lined up, kind of correctly, where they seem like they make sense and fit with the characters they're with. But the quality and the way they looked were absolutely amazing. It was a joy to continue to get some of these. I am not a collector like some of these guys are. I watched a gentleman's video the other day, and his thing was insane. He had so many figures. You could tell that he bought every single figure that came out. And I just don't have the pocketbook to do that at all. But it's been fun collecting, and it's been fun just having figures again and having them on my shelf. And, and almost recollecting the things that I lost when I gave them up as a kid. Gave them up as I got older. Something that eventually maybe my kids will be able to play with if they want to. So, something I really enjoyed and really appreciated. And we'll just have to see what comes to the future for those who are into collecting. But what about you guys? Are you big collectors? Is that something you really enjoy? Is that something you really don't care about? I would love to know in the comments down below. Just some of your opinions about what do you think the future is. Do you think that Mattel is the right route to go? And is that something you're excited for? Or are you like me, you're going to really miss out on what's going on with Mcfarlane, but hoping we're lucky and we're going to be getting some more DC Direct figures to compensate for the loss of the multiverse figures. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, guys, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, I hope you're having a good one. Peace.